To shut the fuck up when grown folks is talking.
What up, world? It's your boy, Coolie, man.
We got the boy, Chief in the building.
And y'all know what it is. It's time to plug them headphones in, put the kids to bed, and let's begin to listen. It's grown-ups talk. Today we're gonna talk about Dave Chappelle, all the backlash he's getting, and we're gonna talk about an 11-year-old girl who was suspended for not wanting to partake in the curriculum of learning about the LGBT. Y'all know what it is. Let's go.
What up? What's going on with y'all?
You. Shout out to Don Julio. Don Julio was back in the motherfucking building. It's been a minute.
Shouts out.
Yo. Hey, yo, listen, man. Y'all know what part of the show this is. This part of the show is dedicated to you, to our fans, our supporters, our listeners, to everybody fucking with us on Mondays as we drop the audios, everybody fucking with us on Wednesdays as we drop the visuals. It takes a special type of you to appreciate a special type of us, and we appreciate that.
Facts. And you already know the motto. Like, share, and follow. If you didn't do it. Tell a friend and do that shit again.
And y'all stop acting all motherfucking stank. If you on Instagram, Spotify, iHeartRadio, anywhere where you can put Grown Ups Talk podcast in your search engine,
what to do, Coolie?
I need y'all to hit that motherfucking link.
That's it, man.
That's it. Alright, listen, man. By now, y'all should know what to do, man. If y'all on Instagram, I need y'all to go over to Catch a Vibe 2. Again, Catch a Vibe 2. I need y'all to holler at the Queens of Edibles. They got anything and everything, the biggest, widest, greatest variety of what you need in the edibles. Again, Catch a Vibe 2. I need you to catch that vibe. And then I need you to go over to Cuts on Congress. Holler at my guy Bart. Get your lineup right, get your fade tight before you end your night. Over at 631 Middletown Ave, Middletown Cafe. Shout out to Ski Boy, Nico, and June. Shout out to everybody over there at 631 Middletown Ave, Middletown Cafe, where it's always a good, grown-up, sexy night every time you turn out and turn up over there. Y'all know what it is, man. Tell them grown-ups talk sent you. You feel me?
Word. So, I mean, if you don't know by now,
what they need to know.
They need to know is you should log on to www.spreadshirt.com/grownupstalk and get our merchandise.
Yeah,
let me take the caption off that motherfucking merchandise.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Talk that shit, AK.
That's it, bro.
Sell that shit, AK. And we got a sale coming up 15% off. My nigga sold that shit so good, he got me started. God damn.
I'm just saying. Get that 15% off discount while it lasts right now.
You feel me?
That shit's still hot.
What's that website again?
I mean, www.spreadshirt.com/grownupstalk, baby. Let's get it.
Let's go. You feel me? Now that we got that out the way, salute to everybody that's sponsoring us, everybody that we sponsor, everybody fucking with us, and everybody that fuck with us. You know what I mean? All of that shit. But we gotta talk about something real serious right now.
Yeah, drop it on.
We gotta talk about Dave Chappelle, man. And this motherfucking special he just put out, man.
That shit, in my opinion, hilarious.
Oh, fucking classic, bro. A fucking classic, first and foremost. It's a classic. And you know it's a classic by how many people was pissed off by what he was saying and the jokes and the shit he was talking about on this special that he put out. If y'all didn't see it, go to Netflix, go up there and look for Dave Chappelle's newest what is it? Special. Guys. Don Julio. I told you back.
Shouts out.
Hey yo, but go up there and watch it, man, and enjoy it, and don't sit up there and watch it and be super critical. Just take it for what it is and enjoy it, and then come back to think about it. But yeah, man, to me, I think that special was basically him holding up a mirror to America right now.
Yeah, I think in each one of his specials, that's what he's been doing. Give him a little glimpse of what they look like, or our opinion, because I think that's a majority rule opinion as us us as minorities.
Right.
So what I'm saying, because we can relate.
Yeah, we definitely could.
Everything he's talking about, and yeah, the shit is just the backlash that he's getting, I say it's because of what he's doing. He's revealing, revealing America.
He doing exactly what we do. He talking about the shit that don't nobody like to talk about.
Facts,
He bringing up the conversations and talking to everybody in such a simple way that it don't go over your head. He gets straight to the point, and his point hits so hard that you can't deny it. Like, you gotta face it. Like, he legit brung it, sat it right in your face, and was like, you can't look at nothing else. This shit is right here.
Right.
It's exactly what I'm talking about.
And give you a comparison. He'll give you a comparison to shit that, if you look at it this way, it would be like that. And
like when he was talking about the crack epidemic for us compared to the opioid epidemic for the suburban people.
Facts. That's a great example right there.
It was like it's just like watching the crack epidemic all over again. And now it's kind of our turn to say, just say no. It ain't that hard.
Right.
Like he had me dying. That whole part.
And speaking facts, how you want us to sympathize and feel some type of way for that shit. In the 80s, our people were suffering.
I'm telling you,
from the whole epidemic that touched and affected the lives of millions.
Right. He was saying how breaking down the fact that when it was the 80s and it was crack for us, it was they're animals, they're criminals. They don't know no better, all of this and that. But as soon as it started hitting their neighborhood, their family members, they're sick. They need help.
Right.
This, that, all of these other things, but they're not just as much criminals. They're not just as much animals. Like it's always different when they look at what's going on in our inner cities compared to what's going on in their homes and in their cities. Like it's always a different narrative. Like the way he was making the comparisons was just crazy in that part of the special. It took me. It was funny as hell.
No, he definitely had a bunch of great points. You know what I'm saying? We can't dissect the show for you. You're gonna need to get the feel for yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that point was. Yeah.
It was epic. It was a great point to make as far as what America need to see.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's always backlash when you touch on the things that people are sensitive about. Like, I think that's the thing about the red line or the string through his whole set was the sensitivity in America right now. Like, you can't talk about this. You can't say that. You can't do this. You can't do that. Like, they can't lock your mind, but they trying to lock your mouth. Like, you can't say certain things. You could think it, but you can't say certain shit. Because you got to worry about offending this person, offending that person. And on some shit, I agree. Like, if it's pure hate, like, keep that shit to yourself. Like, but it's some shit that it shouldn't be so serious that, you can't say that. Oh, God, what's going to happen now?
Now, in a couple of specials before the latest one, he said, America is being, ran, I guess, by a bunch of bitch ass niggas. Like, something like that. And but in all honesty, bro, it's comedy. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? You dare to laugh for one. If the joke isn't funny and you can't relate, then wait for the next one. Right, you know what I'm saying? But you know what it is. He ain't getting up there and trying to hurt any feelings intentionally. That's not what comedians do. They joke about everything. There's no like, I don't think there's no string you shouldn't be able to pull or strings that was so close and dear to people hearts such as race and sexuality already been pulled. Right. So if all punches already been thrown, then shit, it's really no holds guard.
And you know what's crazy? The craziest part to me is I feel like he could have went way harder on those topics than he did. He kind of just threw jabs at it. A couple of haymakers, but nothing too crazy. Like, nothing too wild, disrespectful. You feel me?
Right.
And like, he never said at any point, do I hate this type of people because of their sexuality, or do I hate this type of people because of whatever race they are. Like, he was just saying how people think, people react, people talk, period, or have to walk around on eggshells around all of this stuff. Like, you know what I mean?
But the thing about it is, the shit that he talked about is not like greats haven't talked about it before.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's many comedy specials where some of the greats before him,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of the comedy forefathers, I should say.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I mean, already touched on several of the subjects that he already put out there.
Right.
It's old news, but still need to be, I mean, issued or addressed. And some don't really need to be, but if it's funny, it's funny.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Have an open mind. You need a sense of humor.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Definitely
I think, it's too sensitive, bro.
Yeah,
America's
the
too
times
sensitive,
we in
man.
right now is OD sensitive, and the two major things that he talked about was sexuality and race. Like, and those two are at it feels to me at its all-time height as far as sensitivity. Like, you can't say nothing about either one of those things without some type of backlash. Like,
And I agree, but you know, I think the method behind the madness, like on some motive type shit, why he would, and it's simple because he said it in the comedy, like, yo, it's kind of like weird that, you know, that whole community, you know, the LGBT community can have I guess a bigger, not a bigger movement, but a more of a say than you know, the African American part of it. Like I'm trying to
just go there, funny. We grown up talk. This is what we do.
Nah, facts.
Go.
But yeah, so all the rights and everything that they're pushing for is cool, equality for everyone. You know what I mean, but at the same time, let's address the first one.
Right.
Like before we move on to any
Right.
I mean, addressing any sexualities,
Right.
and let's address this race situation that we got going on in America. And I mean, then we can address the sexuality. Then you can have have that whole block if you need it, if it's necessary. Get us straight first. And we've been fighting for this way past for 400 years. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the shit.
Well,
I mean,
Dr. Umar been saying that for mad years. Like, he just been saying that it's more getting done for women's right, the LGBTQ community, all of these other shit. It's pets that got more rights, or that their situations or their dealings get dealt with a little bit more serious, and they take it a little bit more serious than they do when it comes down to dealing with race, period, in this country. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's more rights, it's more everything, like more laws, all types of shit, like for animals than it is for our people. Like, you know what I mean? And nobody, when we start talking about our people, when we start talking about race, period, everybody want to turn the cheek. Oh, here we go with that again. It wouldn't be here we go with that again if
you just address
it, fix it, and then move on. Because then when we talk about everything else, it wouldn't be, we wouldn't still have to bring up the race situation. We still wouldn't have to bring up how there's nothing been done for African American people. There's nothing. Like, it wouldn't be a conversation if that conversation was already handled, taken care of, and made amends. Like,
no, right, and I think it's genius of him to even make that controversial. You know, just something for people to talk about. You know what I mean, whether it's because any publicity is good publicity.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And if you are paying attention, you should be able to read between the lines, and you should be able to get the message. And yeah, it's humor behind it. It's funny, and a lot of the shit I wouldn't even expect to be true. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's comedy. Make a story up and
kind of elaborate on it, make it funny, but the message behind it, yeah.
Right. So and take it as that, and it's all what they don't agree with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you got a problem with it, then don't watch it.
Right.
It's simple. You see the show, all right. Even if you're a Dave Chappelle fan, maybe just, you know, you gotta reference your shit back to the Chappelle show, or I mean, I think it's easier for them to identify with shit like that because he's mocking everybody, but it wasn't no LBGT skits in there where it was, I mean, to
super offend nobody,
right,
nothing like
right.
that. Like, he wasn't tapping into that.
But his own community, like, I mean, they would allow him to do anything with that, and like in same like he said in his skit, I mean, in the special, how he got called to the office up in and when he was doing the shit.
Comedy Central.
Yeah. He got called and shit, and I mean they call you up there when
he dropped when he said when he said faggot.
Right.
Yeah.
But I was just gonna explain to them. So they call you up there when you have the derogatory language and shit of bad choice of words and shit. They feel like they gotta edit it out or address it and just let you know what you can and can't use on their
boundaries
network.
on everything.
Right. So we get into the office. You know what I'm saying? The lady, what you say he liked and everything like that, and she told him, hey, like, there's no way we can let you say the word, faggot on our network and shit.
Right.
And he said with him, like, just quickly thinking, like, yeah, okay,
that's take it out.
Right, like, so it ain't a problem. You know what I'm saying? I can change it. It's a bunch of words I can use. To mask our word. But on his way out the door, it kind of dawned on him, like, yo, like, he asked her, like, how is it okay for me to use the word nigger and I can't use the word faggot?
Right.
Like, well, Dave, you're not gay. Like, it's like, bitch, I'm not a nigger either. Like,
right.
He ain't say bitch, but
right.
Like
it just perfect point to how you can't say certain things to offend one community, but it's a fly. You can say whatever you want to offend another community. Mm-hmm. And even though he don't see himself that way, they see him that way. So if he use it, well, you are one, you can use that word. And that's how they box you in. Like, you know what I mean? Oh, it shouldn't matter because you kind of are one. That's what she said to him. Basically, she said it without saying it.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
And
that was basically the gist of it. Like,
right.
That's how we see you. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. But that's the type of shit that he making people aware of. We already know that that's the type of shit that go on, but he just talking about it. Talking about his experience and relating it to what else is going on in the world. Like, and I don't see nothing wrong with that. Of course, I'm not in that community to be up in arms. I'm not against that community at all.
We all got friends and family of that community to where, we can understand how they can want to feel safe in a community amongst, people who don't understand their sexuality. So, it ain't like we lack sympathy for that community. It's not to that, but it's just.
It's a question to the country. To me, it's a question to the country of why don't we protect our race the same way that the community is protected?
Oh well, this is clear. Just like Dave Chappelle said, because white men are affected by that community. White men are of the G community, and the T community. So yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Now I get you. But
that's
the
why,
question.
because
that's the
like
question.
he said, he's like, yo, listen, you remember he said, yo, they all in the car and and he's like, yo, just the discrimination rules or whatever.
Right.
He's like, well, listen, I know the way I built these roads. So that's why, like, they know the ins and outs of how to push it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And it ain't saying that all the G community know how to push it.
Right.
All the white men that know how to push it, but it's because white men are in that community is how the world or America, not the world, America can push it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or they can come up with that whole community because, again, white men are in this community. And who won this country right here?
Listen, again, man, I'm gonna reiterate it because I don't want y'all to hear this and feel as if we're bashing that community
Or being racist.
Or being racist, because that's not what it is. We're simply talking about Dave Chappelle's special. We're simply breaking down our thoughts and opinions on it. I mean,
but it is what it is, man. It's grown-ups talk. Fuck that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, I just don't want nobody to feel like we're against the LGBTQ because we're not. Like,
I think we established that before we got behind that. I mean, it ain't. It's just if we call the spade, a motherfucking spade tonight, Coolie. You know what I'm saying? That's what we doing tonight. We ain't, you know what I mean, sugarcoating shit. You know what I mean? It's our opinion. It's our show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Our disclosure. So, yeah.
So, do you feel like him, quote unquote, being canceled or people trying to cancel him is unnecessary or unnecessary?
It's clearly unnecessary. Like, what the fuck you canceling his show for? You still trying to stop this man bag or his money? You know what I'm saying? For even that's talking to you, and that's the problem, and that's why. Look.
Yeah, I asked you for a reason. I'm waiting. So, come on with it.
You know what the world is used to. A comedian such as the Kevin Hart. You know, someone that's floating on that family comedy.
Right.
You know what I mean? He that's what his jokes is about. His family, his you know what I mean, journeys and shit like that. It ain't nothing too derogatory, you know what I mean, or
too
just
edgy
right. just split a race or a sexual community.
Right.
You know what I mean? He ain't even touching on them jokes. And then we got a Cat Williams. He would go political, but even he won't touch on the, you know, and it could go on. You could go on
right,
to
all the way down
some,
the list.
right. And not saying that they don't have some of that material or they don't even, I mean, have some of them skits. Right. Yeah. But, I mean, to be in the mainstream is kind of walking on eggshells when you under that type of limelight. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I think, you know, America ain't even finished done picking on Chappelle for, I mean, pulling his stuff for getting to know himself again. You know,
right. Walking away from all that money.
Right. So yeah, that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, canceling celebrities is a trend now, and it's corny as fuck for one. Like, I mean, in this situation, it's corny. Just because if he's on that stage and he's talking about anything else, whoever was affected or feels some type of way about what he was saying on that stage, if the joke is on anybody else, it's okay to laugh. But once the joke becomes about you or affects whatever you're supporting, right, now all of a sudden you're offended. You gotta be, oh, I'm up in arms, let's cancel him. That's not how this shit it works. If you could laugh at anybody else, everybody else should be able to laugh at you too. That's the whole reason for the comedy. It's the whole reason for it. Like, I mean, again, he didn't say not one time F that community, he don't get along with that
community. He actually made it clear, like listen,
any community or any race. He didn't say I hate anybody. Right. He literally was making fun of black people. He was making fun of the school shootings. He was making fun of the LGBTQ. He talked about Michael Jackson. He talked about R. Kelly. He talked about a bunch of different shit. The Asian community, being married to a wife who's Asian, like, he talked about a lot of shit.
His kids.
Yeah. You feel me? He talked about a lot of shit. Now, I mean, was it as tasteful as some may like? No. But it was, I feel like anybody else that As long as they was talking about the LGBTQ, everybody else that he talked about was laughing. Once they stopped talking about that and he was talking about the black people, everybody else was laughing. Like, you gonna cancel a man just because you got offended over some jokes, but all the other jokes he said was cool if he was offending anybody else. Come on, man, that's bullshit, yo. That's bullshit.
Then his jokes wasn't even like demeaning jokes. Like
Right.
it was just, jokes that's obvious, but I guess they ain't supposed to be talked about. Like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
like the Michael Jackson shit. Bruh, they mad because he said that he don't believe the people that's talking about the allegations.
I never
Bruh,
believe
a lot of people in the world don't believe it. We sat up here and said we don't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Bruh, he went to court. I mean, they found him not guilty. He didn't get charged with nothing. Twice he went in court, and now that he gone, you trying to bring up this whole situation again after it was already proved. Holes was punched into your whole story, everything. Of course, people not gonna believe that. You gotta deal with that. Like, you knew when you wanted to talk about your situation or your allegations against Michael Jackson that it was gonna be people that believe you. It was gonna be people that didn't believe you. And just because he's a celebrity, you can make an example because he tend to have the non-popular opinion on your situation, doesn't mean you gotta cancel that man. He's not saying that you're wrong, you're less of a person or anything. Like, he's just saying, I don't believe you. Like, period. The same thing with the R. Kelly thing. He talk about R. Kelly. Like, they reading off the transcripts and all that. Like, I mean, just the wildness that he was talking about up there. It's just crazy that people are getting offended by it because he's kind of pulling your card. Like, he's kind of saying, is this really what it is? Like, this is what it seems like to me. Like, I mean, that's crazy.
America is just so petty.
Right, yo. It's this fucking entitlement culture. It's this fucking sensitive culture. Yeah, everybody got feelings. Everybody has rights. Everybody should be respected. 100%. I agree with that. But in this type of situation, like, it's funny. Like, it was all good when everybody else was being made fun of. Why I gotta stop when it's you? Oh, nah, whoa. That's too much. Like, come on, man. He didn't. I don't know, bro. It's just, to me, again, canceling, trying to quote unquote cancel that man. I'm not gonna stop watching his specials. I'm not gonna stop supporting that man's comedy and his entertainment. I'm gonna keep watching it. Like, point blank, period. It is what it is.
No, I think those that feel like it need to be canceled just need to stop watching it. Simple.
Yeah.
The only thing is gonna be hurting his pockets. Like, if they start watching it,
Bro,
everything.
a lot of the people, it's just like every other trend. A lot of people gonna say they cancel them, or I'm not gonna support it, I'm not gonna watch it. Be right out of specials.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's it. But those are the people that's in the LGBT community, but still able to have, a sense of humor.
Right,
and,
right.
I mean, understand that it's just a joke.
Yeah.
And will participate and go to his shows and shit like that. So.
And it's not just the LGBTQ community that's talking canceling. Like, there's a lot of different people talking about canceling because he was talking about the Michael Jackson thing. He was talking about the R. Kelly thing. Like, because he was talking about the opioid epidemic. Like, those are all of the communities.
Shit that's going on.
Yeah, that's what they do. Comedians talk about the current event shit, what's going on, and they talk about it in a real way, but in a comedic way. Like, I mean, they bring your attention to it. They make you feel the way you should feel, because 9 times out of 10, y'all, the same people that's talking about canceling them, feel super sensitive because you're affected by that community or you're affiliated with those communities. Mm-hmm. And understandable, but like I said, he didn't disrespect your communities. Like, he made it funny. That's what he did. He made it funny.
Yeah, they're just too sensitive, bro. Too petty. I mean, I think it's a little bit extreme at this point now. I would say, especially with the case of, the little girl. I mean, but she was in class and they doing
London, yeah.
And they doing
It's part of the curriculum to
Right,
teach kids,
It's part of the
kids about the LGBTQ community, lifestyle and the different sexualities that's involved in it. And
Right, yeah, they doing a class on that
Right,
shit,
right.
and you know, she ain't want to participate in that curriculum.
in that part of the lesson, that part of
Right,
class.
that's the I can't find the lesson.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm looking for the lesson. Yeah, she didn't want to participate in that lesson, and so you know, her consequences were being suspended. Right.
Yeah, she got suspended for 5 days for it.
And
Allegations. So what happened was it was an 11-year-old girl, and there was a student that was there too. But they both asked. They raised their hand, asked the teacher, "Can I not participate in this because I don't believe I should be learning about this at this age?"
and then one student it was against their religion.
It was against his religion. He said he's Christian, and where he come from, they don't acknowledge that. Well, not acknowledge it, but they don't practice that. They don't believe in it.
Mm-hmm.
They think it's wrong to do. But the girl was basically saying that she just wanted to be excused from this lesson because she didn't want to partake in it. She didn't feel like this was the atmosphere that she should be learning about the community, LGBTQ community.
Right.
And the teacher turned around and
Put some words in her mouth.
Yeah, it said that she was in a class talking about she was gonna kill gay and lesbian people, and she hated them, that whole community, and she wished they would die, and all this and that. Now, this is what the teacher is saying, and all of the students in the class are saying they never heard that girl say that. Never, not once. Did her or the other student say any of this? Like, this is all lies being put on the teacher. Being put on the student by the teacher. And the teacher was yelling at them, brought them up in front of the class, embarrassed them. How dare you? How dare you?
Right.
All of this and that, and making a spectacle out of the whole situation, and treating them just like, yo, you can't. There's no way in hell you can't learn about this.
Right.
And all the girls saying is, in their school, they have 4-year-old and 5-year-old kids learning about this.
Right.
Learning about sexuality when they're supposed to be playing with blocks and they're supposed to be playing with, toys or whatever. And if they have those feelings, that's, something that they should be talking about with their parents before being taught about these feelings through a school.
You shouldn't put in that's like kind of forcing the kid, not forcing the kid, but listen, that's nothing a 4-year-old should be thinking about sex.
Like, I got a 3-year-old daughter, you feel me? If her daycare start trying to push that as part of the curriculum, I gotta remove my daughter out of that. Not because she shouldn't know about that community existing or know about that part of sexuality, but at 4 years old, I don't want my child learning about that. I don't want my child thinking about sex at all. At all. My child should not be thinking about sex at all.
Whether it's heterosexual or
None of that.
Yeah.
Like, listen, she should be learning her sight words. She should be learning how to spell, how to read, or already reading. Some math. That type of shit.
Right.
Not who you gonna have sex with. Who do you prefer to have sex with?
Right.
I'm not, and if, again, because I had this conversation with somebody outside of us doing this episode, and like I told that person, I'm not against kids learning about the LGBTQ community at all. But when you start them off at 4 and 5, and them kids, and she said the kids in her school are telling her, I don't want to be a boy no more. I don't want to be a girl no more. I don't know what I want to be, because of what they're learning and being taught in that school.
Right.
By the time, if your child grows up to be 14, 15, 16, and they start talking about, I think I like girls, or they're comfortable enough to come to you and talk to you about it. And I know in a lot of situations, teenagers are scared, or people are scared to talk about how they feel at those young ages. But
or even as an adult.
Yeah, even as an adult, like, you feel me? But if then they come to you, or you want to have that conversation, okay, fine, cool. then you can have the conversation about the education around it and letting them know what it is. But at 4 and 5, come on, man, you out your fucking mind, man. And the student in this situation wasn't 4 or 5, but she was speaking for the 4 and 5-year-olds in her school or in her area that's being taught this stuff and being taught about the LGBTQ community. And she felt as if it's wrong, it's being forced upon them to learn about it too early in their learning ages. They should wait until the average ages of kids being sexually active, or they think kids are being sexually active. Kids ain't being sexually active at no 4 or 5 years old, man.
Yeah, unless you teach them about it. Now, that's the thing. You in school to learn, you know what I mean, the basics, you know what I mean, like you said, math, you know what I mean, reading, you know what I mean, things of that nature, average school shit.
Right.
You know what I mean, and then if you aren't gonna teach kids about sex, you know what I mean, what happened to the good old fashioned sex ed. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was a kid, I took sex ed, and it just teach you how to properly have sex. You know what I mean? Without risking yourself for STD or birth, having a kid. And for us coming up, it was very high. Kids having kids.
Our generation coming up was very much exposed to
having sex
early and all of that, like
right. And and it go for both communities. I mean, heterosexual and
shit. It didn't matter if it was a boy or a girl or
right,
whatever.
Right.
At some point in early stages of life, like I mean, I know people lost their virginity at 9 years old. I know people that waited till they was 18. But how much it was pushed when we was coming up, it's called quote unquote. They call it rape culture. That we was like, cause you go to a party, you humping on girls, you see videos, it's nothing but thongs and ass shaking. It's all types of wild shit we was growing up seeing. Like,
yeah, but that was the thing, you get money, chase girls. That's
And again, like you said, but we had sex ed, and they didn't teach us sex ed until they knew around that 10, 11-year-old age where you're starting to hit puberty and you're starting to be curious on sex and sexuality and all of that. But pushing it on kids at 10 or 11, and even the girls saying that, I'm not ready to learn about this. I don't feel like I should be learning this through you. Like, I think it should be the option of the parents to teach their kids about that. Like, you know what I mean? And if you don't know too much about it as a parent, and you know somebody who is a part of that community and want them or feel free enough for them to come talk to your child, you know what I mean? Because I have people in my family, we have people in our family that, you know what I mean, if I don't know enough, I go to them and ask them a question. Like, you know what I mean? Or I feel free enough to have them come sit down and educate my child. But
even some people don't even have that family member.
Right.
But go to your closest friend or mentor and talk. It's always good to get that type of shit off your chest.
Right. And to learn the history of the movement or the community, to learn all of that, like the backstory and all of the things that they went through and all that, that's all fine and good. But to be pushing sexuality on kids when they ain't even thinking about sex, period, that to me that's wrong. Like, you can bash us, you can say whatever you want about Grown Ups Talk podcast, but that's wrong, man. If you believe at 4 or 5 years old you should be telling these kids, even at 6 or 7, that you telling these kids about sex and sexuality, and what you preparing them for?
Now, yeah, to be clear, that's saying the school shouldn't be doing that.
Right.
Now, if your kid is identifying, at that age to where they notice that, they can be, they are liking the opposite, the same sex, or, feel like, that's what they want to do, then they should talk to their parents, and that should be something that the parents should talk about and discuss, at home. And you can go to school and you can have live your life normally, but it ain't something collectively. I think all the students should have to sit down and.
It should be an organic thing for each individual person, because if, like you said, if that child is identifying that way, feels this type of way, mommy, I feel like this, or you notice it in your child and you want to talk to your child about it, that's a different situation.
Right,
Then your child not even worried. Your child worried about the Transformers or basketball or ballet or whatever they're worried about.
But it's some 10 or even 4 or 5 year olds that will know that early. They say like so.
Yeah. I'm not denying that at all. I'm just saying if they're not even thinking about.
Right, it ain't no need to.
Exactly.
Yeah, to open that door.
Why rob them kids of their experience of life to even be able to make a sound decision on what they want? Like, you know what I mean? And there's some cases, like you said, there's kids that identify early as fuck in life. Like, little boys want to wear their mom's dresses or dress up in their heels or whatever, and little girls want to wear all daddy's clothes, or whatever the case may be, or however you can see the signs in your kids or they expressing the signs. But I think that should happen organically. It should happen naturally. You should be able to bring that conversation to your child, or have that conversation with your child, or let your child have that conversation with you, instead of forcing it and making it a thought when it's not even a thought. You know what I mean? If they worried about Legos, or they worried about the new Spider-Man, or whatever princess movie coming out, let them worry about that. Let them enjoy being a kid, because you don't get these years back. You don't get them back.
Right. Yeah.
You don't. When it's time to address sexuality and sex, that's when you should be addressing it.
See, yeah, and you know, I'll be thinking, so what if it's a ulterior motive on to make the kids aware, so that it could prevent bullying or hate crimes or things of that nature. Right, that's just a thought.
9 times out of 10, AK, that is the whole reason why they want to do it.
Right.
9 times out of 10, that's their motive.
Right, that's what I'm thinking.
But just like in the Chappelle special, he said the motive is one thing, but how you go about achieving your goal with that motive is another thing.
No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, and if you could, so I had a perfect example. You just throw me off.
My bad.
With the motives and shit.
The Don is in the building.
We gonna move past that. But one thing I wanted to point out, he said in his show, God damn.
Yeah, your mind gone,
yeah,
bro.
Yeah, that shit just.
But yo,
it just came and went, bro.
Like yo, shout out to Lemonhead, man. Shout out to you, man. I seen, she went up and put a post up about how people be bashing gay people, like, you know what I mean, or bashing people in that community and saying, oh, I don't want my child this, I don't want my child that, instead of just embracing your child. Now, I understand them teaching them about it so it can prevent the bullying and the name calling and all of the questions and stuff about a lot of the things that people tend to attack people in that community about.
Right.
But parents, this is why I say the parents should be having this conversation and educating their kids before the school, because or they should let the parents do it before they make it a curriculum or force it as a curriculum. Because if it's the child that doesn't know or knows but hasn't had that conversation with their parent, and they have that conversation, the parent is to embrace that. It might be a tough pill to swallow, but you have to love your child regardless. You have to. That's your child. You are supposed to love your child unconditionally, because your child didn't ask to be brought here. You brought that child here. So everything that comes with that child, you have to embrace, love, and help cultivate into a sustainable human being.
Right, even if you don't agree.
Right, even if you don't agree. You feel me? Like, for people to talk about gay people, I don't want my child this, You don't know what your child is going to be growing up. You don't know what your child is going to choose to do. Your child could be anything, the biggest drug dealer, the best business person, the most smartest person in the world, the president, a fucking drug dealer, or whatever. You don't know. A mass murderer, you don't know. You don't know what your child is going to be. You have hopes, you have dreams.
You raised in El Chapo, you said drug dealer Troy.
Yeah. Listen, it's up to the parents, though, to create the environment of being able to talk about these type of things and these topics and let your child know that it's nothing that you're going through in life that you can't come to me and talk about or talk to me to get it off your chest or get a better understanding or have that communication. Like,
fact. So that brings me, thank you. I just need you to talk so I can get my train of thought back. So that brings you to my point. What I was trying to say was that, with their ulterior motive as far as, having kids take that curriculum to prevent bullying,
right?
Just why not have a class on that? Just that,
right.
Acceptance and bullying. We got differences. We got different races. We got different sexualities here.
Right.
You don't gotta have a whole class on it.
Make the curriculum bullying.
Right. That's the curriculum.
Right.
And that's a subject in the bullying class.
Right.
So you got this person that, we all seen the skits and the plays of how they do it. They make you sit down in the class, turn the lights off, and they put the tape in, and they give you the whole skits on the bullying thing, and then just do it like how they used to do it with us, with the Say No to Drugs. They'll show two students, the best of friends, and one student, discover some drugs, and then try to peer pressure the other student to do it, and then the student that he's trying to peer pressure gains the conscience and no, drugs are bad.
Right.
Say no to drugs, and then he gets his friend off of drugs. Life ain't that easy. But give them show them little skit.
And it don't just have to be a video. If you're gonna make it a curriculum, make it a curriculum. Actually build some learning around it. Don't just make it a pop-in video. We forget about it tomorrow. Teach them. Take time to teach them about why bullying people of different races is bad. People that look different or have deformities is bad. Learning disabilities is bad. Or different choices of sexuality is bad. Or whatever you want. Bullying period is bad, is wrong, because if you are in those shoes, you wouldn't want to be treated that way. That right there is the equality in it. You feel me? That right there is teaching equality instead of just teaching about sexuality. Because now the pressure, you can tell the pressure is on the teacher to teach this curriculum because of the way she reacted to the student saying, I don't feel like I should be learning about this right now. I'm too young. You feel me?
I feel like the way she was going so hard about it, she may be a participant of that community.
And even if so, though,
right?
Even if she is a part of that community, you feel me?
Yeah.
No matter what her preference is, she should be able to understand. Because if you come from an oppressed community, you should be able to understand if somebody says, hold up, I don't think I'm ready for this. Hold up, I don't want to be forced into this. Because if we had the chance to say, hold up, we don't want to be brung up over there on them ships. You feel me? If we had the chance to raise our hand and say, hold up, I don't want to do that. Hold up, let's not. You know what I mean? How brave is that girl for being able to do that? You know what I mean? This is crazy. This is the situation that we're raising our kids in. I have an 11-year-old and a 3-year-old, and this is the type of shit we gotta see or kind of we gotta be aware of that they are gonna run into at some point.
Speaking of, raising kids and everything like that. Back to the Dave Chappelle special, right?
Yeah.
The whole segue, and this is my second point. When I try to catch it, and I lost everything. This is the second point here.
I follow.
But he had a great point about how his son, they got a class shooter drill,
Yeah.
And so if
it really wasn't school today, I got you. I know what you're
right. So I mean, you got a drill for when, if or ever they have a school shooting.
Yeah.
So I mean, the great point that he made at the end of the whole joke and the punchline is that you actually training the shooter on
what to do, how to effectively come here and complete the mission.
It's someone in the school that's shooting up the school. You don't go to another school and shoot it, even though that has happened.
Right.
But majority.
That person goes to the school that they shooting up.
Right.
And you teaching them exactly the route we're gonna take, how we're gonna gather, how what. If this announcement happens, is this just like when we had bomb threats back in middle school when we went to Roberto Clemente, he was like, "This Clemente is in the building." We knew it was a bomb threat. Everybody had to line up, evacuate, and go out so they gonna know exactly where the fuck to go. What the fuck to do, how to hit it, what angle, all of that. And you can devise your whole plan around what you teaching them.
Exactly. But it all revolves around. Again, can revolve, because not all of them do, but some of it's hate, but bullying.
Right.
And the kids get bullied and pushed to the point to where they feel like, I gotta take a few motherfuckers out. And it's fucked up.
Right.
It's fucked up, or they just hate the opposite race or sex, the idea of someone with their different sexual views so much that they can go and shoot the school up, and that right there is just a whole other, ball field. That's a hate.
Yeah, but you bring up an excellent fucking point though, which is an excellent it's a challenge to the schools here in America, because the situation that we were talking about happened in London. If that was to be pushed over here, the challenge should be teach bullying. Or do you teach sexuality? You know what I mean? Because bullying is all of everything that the country complains about or knows about that is issues that we tend to neglect and protect at the same time. Mm-hmm. So if we target everything under that umbrella, compared to just targeting one specific topic in sexuality, I think we can cancel out a lot. Because it ultimately starts at home. Because when I teach my kids, you gotta love and you gotta respect people for who they are. It don't matter how different they look, how different they act, whatever. You respect that person. Because ultimately you want them to respect you. So you gotta give it to get it. You feel me? And you gotta live life with morals and with respect and be humble enough to understand everybody has different paths. Everybody is different. Everybody is not the same. We're not cookie cutter beings, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and then at the same time, everyone that you give respect ain't gonna give it back in return. So you just gotta learn to live with that.
Right. There's nothing to get up in arms about. As long as they don't touch you, you fine. You fine. Once they touch you, whatever you gotta do to protect yourself after that it is what it is.
Right, and then that's bring us to another great point that Dave Chappelle special is actually named Sticks and Stones. So,
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
We all know that saying, sticks and stones may
break my bones,
but words will never hurt me.
Exactly. So, and that's just the genius behind all of that. Mm-hmm. Because he's a lot of people don't like it, but he's stirring the pot to get the conversation going. Just like Colin Kaepernick did, and Jay doing now with the partnership, and all of this
that's for the people.
It's a million things that we could point to that stir up conversations that need to be had, but it takes almost the most wittiest people that we know and the most slick people, wordsmiths, or top notch, I don't give a fuck celebrities to make this shit come forefront almost. You know what I mean? We not celebrities yet, but we bring these type of conversations up because we know they need to be had.
Right.
But then when something like this happens and we get to talk about shit we wanted to talk about anyway, this shit is kind of perfect. It's shit that need to be talked about. Drugs ain't just a problem when it hits the suburbs. Like, sexuality isn't just a problem when you offended by somebody making a joke. Like, it's not, school shootings aren't just a problem when Dave Chappelle is up there talking about how you basically giving them the route to come in and shoot the schools.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these things aren't just problems because a comedian stood up on stage and said these are problems. These things were problems before he stood up on stage. He just had the balls enough to stand up on stage in front of the audience, in front of the world, and all of the countries that are streamed in, to say these things are problems. Period.
Yeah, and that's America don't like what she see in the mirror.
And that's one of the things that sets the fire more than anything. When you make our country, any part of our country, have to face the ugly truth of our country, all the backlash that come with it, bro. All the backlash. You can talk about until you blue in the face or you red, white, and blue in the face with stars everywhere on your body about how great the country is. But the moment you uncover the ugly truths that is going on in this country,
they not trying to hear that.
Ain't nobody want to hear that shit. Don't nobody want to hear that shit. On an individual level and on a nationwide level, like, cause you can't even go to your friend and tell your friend, hey, yo, I see you need to tighten up here, or let me help you fix this going on in your life, or I mean, or when they talk to you about some shit, you can't give them honest, constructive criticism.
Right.
You can't do that in today's America. You can't do that. Like,
but is it because you know how they see America wanna be the bully and at the same time pick you up and fix your boo-boos.
right.
So I mean, when I say that, I mean,
But they won't pick everybody else up and fix their boo-boos. They don't want to fix their own.
right. Like, but that's the thing. Their own is self-inflicting scars.
Mm-hmm.
It's shit that they done to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But they get the makeup to cover that shit up.
Right.
To make themselves look pretty.
Right.
So when, you know, the makeup start to fade and the blemishes start to show,
Right.
that's when they feel offended.
Exactly.
You got someone exposing their true scars. And everybody know what it is already. Everybody know the history and know of some of the history. Like, I mean, you may not know as much,
As detailed as you need to.
As you need to. I mean, myself included. But at the same time, we all know what America installed onto us. Like, I mean,
Right, yeah. Like you say it all the time. They programmed us. Like,
right, our conditioning
it's been conditioned. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, man, it's just plain to see. And America, put your skirt down. That's it. That's it. And you know what? Is it? And here's another me critically thinking, another idea. Now, I mean, you might be getting some backlash what I'm about to say, but is it America is so sensitive because of the bullying? You know, not the fact that that want to be bullied. The fact that they don't want to get bullied. Like,
it's just like whenever a bully in school gets pushback from the people that they bullying, it's like, whoa, this ain't supposed to happen. You ain't supposed to stick up for yourself. This ain't supposed to be, you know what I mean? That's exactly what it is. Like, and they're just not. You're not expecting that to come from the own people in this nation. You know what I mean?
But that's what make the world so sensitive. Like, oh, I can do this on this certain degree, but it can't be done to me.
Right.
So I mean, and the shit it's just mind-boggling, bro. That, you know, don't get me wrong, I'm totally against bullying, but I think it's the fact that they have these classes or this curriculum in school, the bully, even though I just suggested it, the bullying class and the LBGT class and everything like that is the reason America is so fucking soft right now. Like, I mean, as a kid growing up, prior to all this motherfucking bullshit, this you know, bitch assness, we wasn't taught like that. Like, I mean, yo, you getting bullied, go outside and handle that shit. Right. I mean, you stick up for yourself, you won't get bullied no more. Then don't get me wrong, there were some kids that never ever stuck up for themselves, and I mean, but it wasn't no crazy ass fucking mass shooting. And the matter of fact, the very first school shooting I could remember was Bowling for Caliban. That's the very first from my era that I could remember as a mass shooting. Me coming up. So it wasn't. I don't think it was as bad as it is today.
Yeah, it's definitely a different time, definitely different era. I don't know. I can't. Again, this is the type of thinking I can't wrap my mind around, and if I can, I'll start becoming scared because now I'm starting to understand. I don't want to understand this type of thinking. I want to understand the thinking that is solution based. You know what I mean? Like you said, let's do the bullying class. Like, you know what I mean? Let's stop being the Pop-Tart sweetheart we saw from the middle. You know what I mean? Like, let's stop doing that. Like,
but part of that is facing your fears.
Exactly.
Like you just said, you don't want to think about it like that because you're scared to think about it like that. But that's a part of opening your mind so you're gonna better understand what you're afraid of is what you don't understand. Like, I mean, that's the fear. You're always afraid of what you don't understand. If you get a better understanding of it, then you get a sense of accountability. So, I mean, it ain't that you're bad now that you understand it. It's just that you don't fear it because you understand it.
But that's the thing. I don't fear it because I think of, I see what's going on. I have knowledge of what's going on, but I don't want to take on a full thinking. I have knowledge, and from what I'm seeing, I have solutions. You know what I mean? And I know how to better prepare mine for these type of things. You know what I mean? That's what I mean. Like, but on a general note, I get what you're saying. But I think it's the toughest part about these conversations that we're having today is the fact that we have to face it. Like you said, we have to face that these are the issues. How do we solve them, make solutions, or build a foundation in which we don't have to face these no more? That's what it is. Now, in the words of Jay-Z, now the action has to take place. Because you could be mad and you could cancel Dave Chappelle, but you can't cancel every human being in this country. You can't cancel every human being on this planet and say, because everybody knows what the issue is and everybody wants to talk about the issue, that, oh, everybody got to get canceled. We need to start putting some action towards it. You know what I mean? And maybe it starts with, instead of teaching the sexuality, you teach bullying, anti-bullying. Like, you teach that as a curriculum, part of the curriculum in school. Instead of teaching 4 and 5-year-olds about sexuality.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So here's another me
critically thinking.
Right. So, you know, previously in the special prior to the latest, he had mentioned the whole Emmett Till, he told the whole Emmett Till story. Right. And after telling the Emmett Till story to get the guy in the crowd familiar, he goes to say that how, you know, the woman that was involved with that in the whole thing actually, you know, in her deathbed actually, you know, confessed to lying, right? So, and he said that lie ultimately changed history to put us in a better situation as far as equality and equal rights, right? And how that right there can be, and he was saying maybe, I mean, his point was maybe that's what Trump is to us today. It's that lie. So I mean, maybe we need to go through this to make a bigger change. But I think it's his genius. We need to talk about this to make a bigger change. And what we're talking about is that even worth talking about when we have issues that haven't even been discussed.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, I think what you said with the bullying thing is it attacks a big chunk of that. You know what I mean? What we haven't discussed, what we haven't tried to fix yet. I mean, there's of course reparations we got to talk about, which we talked about. I mean, go back. There's all types of things that we could talk about as far as solutions, but I think from this day moving forward, a small stepping stone is just embarking on talking more about bullying and everything under the umbrella of things that you could be bullied on, about, around, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Race, sexuality, looks, learning disabilities, whatever you want to put.
Just to throw this out there, reparations, I don't think that's going to fix this problem.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
You know what I'm saying?
But like I said, it's what a lot of people think is a solution. But like I said in that episode, like, I think once that's given, it's gonna be, all right, shut up about it. Like, it's gonna be that type of shit. But again, go back to that episode somewhere, and and you'll hear our opinions about that. But yeah, man, it's the genius in Dave Chappelle. You know what I mean? To be hated or celebrated, regardless. I think for him putting the topics in the conversation and his whole special, the way he built his material into all of this, I think it was genius, bro. I definitely do. I think that that teacher needs to be dealt with and handled. I'm not saying she got to be fired, but I think that she should miss some time from work, the same way that student had to miss time from school as far as learning. Period. Like, it's only right. It's good for the goose. It's good for the game.
Facts. And yeah, you know what I'm saying. I absolutely agree, Coolie. Like, that little girl, she not even went home, or she never missed no days out of school for having her rights.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And to know that she literally said, this is not being pushed on me by my parents to say, think, or act in this manner. This is me saying these things, because my mom didn't even know that this was going to be part of the curriculum into the school year. Period. Like, she had no idea. It popped up, and I said, whoa. That's it. That's
a little bit much. I don't want, you know.
Yeah, she said literally, I'm not ready, and I don't think that you guys should be teaching me about this. I'm not ready for that part of life right now. You feel me?
I totally agree.
Salute to her. I don't want to chop up your name, because I've been, indulgent.
Been sipping.
Yeah, I've been sipping. Don Julio is definitely in the building. But yeah, man, listen, I need y'all to take away from this episode. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Y'all need to toughen up, man. Y'all need to understand that if it's good for you to laugh at everybody else and what everybody else is going through and all of that, when it come around full circle for it's time for people to laugh at the things that's funny about whatever you got going on in life, it's okay. Laughing and comedy and humor is therapeutic for a lot of people. You got to understand that, yes, life is serious, but it's not as serious as you're trying to make it in this situation. You know what I mean? Understand that you got to have tough skin. You got to get through a lot, but you don't have to be so sensitive and feel so entitled at all times for everybody to walk on eggshells around you. Shit is going to be said to you along your years and along your journey that you're not going to like, you're not going to agree with at all times. But you got to either put up the fight or choose to say, this isn't worth the fight. This one right here, I don't think is worth the fight. I don't think so. Me personally. Again, man, sticks and stones may break my bones, words will never hurt me. I am Coolie Man. You can find me anywhere under the name of Coolie Man. If you can't find me there, you can find me anywhere under Grown Ups Talk.
Facts, and you already know the motto. Like, share, and follow. If you didn't do it, do it. Tell a friend and do that shit again. You know what I mean? Special shout out to my boy Blaze. You know what I mean? Go get your All-Star lineup at All-Star Lineup. You know what I mean? On 450 Forest Road, West Haven, Connecticut. You know what I mean? Definitely log into www.spreadshirt.com/grownupstalk where you can get, you know what I mean, Grown Ups Talk merchandise, or it's 15% off. It's your boy AK Chief signing out, checking off. You know the motto. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, yo, y'all know what it is, man. Talk to us, don't talk to us at all. Word of juicy smooth.